What's up everybody? This video is going to be a little bit different. So I'm not going to be taking a look at a single pair of shoes or shoes that I've actually got possession of. Instead, I'm going to be taking a look at a collection of shoes that the Jordan brand are dropping as part of its Spring 2022 collection. Well, spring in the Northern Hemisphere. Down here in Australia, it will be like summer, autumn or fall, however you look at it. Let's get into it. Now what I will do is look at my screen, so if I do look off camera, it's because I'm taking a look at the images that the brand have released via the Nike news site. I will link that in the description in case you want to check it out yourself. But what I'll also do is put a picture of the shoe that I'm talking about on one side of this video, so that way you know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about it. Let's get into the first shoe on the list, and it is the Jordan 12 Retro Playoff. I really love the 12. I think it is a mega beastly looking pair of shoes, and I really like the way that the shoe lends itself to the colorway applications with the two different colors that are usually found on the shoe. You know, like a color on the front end and then a color on the back end that are usually like a massive contrast to each other. I think it adds a lot of interest, and I really like what they've done here with the black and white. This is an OG colorway, and the reason why we're seeing the brand bring back an OG colorway is because next year the Jordan 12 turns 25. The release of OG anything is something that the company don't take lightly. They want to make sure that where they're releasing stuff that is in its original form, that it's tied to some sort of significance. In this case, the 25th anniversary of the shoe. It is a shoe that I will definitely be putting my hand up for, and it's a yes please. Shoe number 2 is the Air Jordan High OG Dark Marina Blue. This is a awesome use of colors. I really like the dark blue and the black, and the white midsole just adds a really nice contrast to the overall look of the shoe. It is a shoe that I am going to probably pass on, only because it reminds me a lot of the One Mid Hyper Royale that was released I think earlier this year or late last year. I think they're just too similar for me to want to drop another 240 bucks on a pair of shoes. It's just me. The next shoe is another Jordan 1 High OG, this time with University Gold and Light Bordeaux. This is a shoe I don't know how I feel about yet. It's kind of like, yes, I like it. No, I don't really like it. Yeah, it's kind of nice. I don't know what it is for me. It looks like it is a full leather upper, and what may have been really nice here is if they possibly maybe made that toe box white instead of yellow, or they looked at switching up the materials on the light Bordeaux panels of the shoe, maybe giving it a nubuck or a suede finish, just to give a little bit more contrast to the shoe's upper, given that the colors are a little bit jarring, you know, having the University Gold and the light Bordeaux. I think there's a lot going on that it feels like something's still missing. This is something I'm sitting on the fence on. I'll probably wait until there's a closer look at how the sneakers themselves are going to look, but if I'm honest, I'm probably leaning to a pass at this point. The next shoe is an Air Jordan 3 in Muslin and University Red. Well, let's be honest, I think the University Red in the title is a bit of a stretch. I think they should just call it the Muslin, but I think it's also been referred to as the canvas, which is probably better, seeing as the upper has got a full canvas upper. And I really dig this model. Gives me those Arma Maniere vibes from that 3 that they released earlier this year, I think. It's just super clean, and although it's different, the lack of elephant print and then that single texture that you get throughout the rest of the upper really gives a almost premium feel to the shoe. The yellowed back tab and the top part of that heel panel around the midsole kind of gives it an aged look that makes it look a little bit more vintage. I don't know, I really like this shoe. It's a shoe that I'm giving a yes please. Pick me. The next model is another 3. This time it's the Retro 3 in a Cardinal Red, and it's really clean. This is a more traditional Jordan 3, the way we're used to seeing them, with the tumbled leather upper. The elephant print is in this version, and what we've got is those Cardinal Red accents where we would typically see color in a model of the Jordan 3. I really like it. I'm probably going to want a pair of these, so I'm going to give this a yes please. The next model is a Jordan 4. They've called it the Canvas and Cement Grey. It's a women's model, so unfortunately I'm going to have to pass on this because they don't release these in a US women's 14.5, which is the size I would need to fit into a woman's pair of shoes. But this is beautiful. Like, if you can fit into these, whether you're a male or female, who cares? These shoes are fire. I love that almost single tone throughout the whole shoe. Like, even the midsole kind of blends into the upper. But what it's got that's really cool is these accents of blue and red in the outsole that you can barely see, but it's all in the details. There isn't the mesh that we would traditionally see in a Jordan 4, but I can forgive it when it looks this good. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm really feeling the way that this Jordan 4 looks. It's, like I said, a pass for me, but do yourself a favor. If you can get yourself into a pair of these, throw your hat in the ring. We've got another Jordan 4 up next. This time it's called the Amethyst Wave. And this is another pair of shoes that really had me on the fence. Initially I was kind of like, nah, but then I took a closer look at it and I'm kind of like, yeah. And then I read a little bit about it, and it's actually a tribute to Phil Jackson as well. But then I take a closer look at it and I'm like, it's actually pretty sweet. It's got a canvas upper, there's this tie-dye colorway through that canvas. The black really works well where they've placed it in part of the tongue, the mesh, and part of the midsole as well, not the full midsole. There is some white and some gray parts of the outsole making its way into the midsole. It's just got a lot going on for it. I think this is another one that I will be saying, yes please, pick me. We got another Jordan 4. I think next year is actually going to be the year of the Jordan 4. Like, this year it was the 5. We saw so many of them, and next year it looks like we've got a lot of good 4s on the way. And the retro infrared, like, yes, nothing to say. Take my money. Now we've got a Jordan 5, and this one is the Jordan 5 Low in Arctic Orange, Siren Red. I like lows, mids, and highs. I like low versions of mids, low versions of highs, mid or high versions of lows. However you want to look at it, I really don't care. As long as a shoe looks good, I'm all for it. Sometimes I get a little bit perturbed, I guess, that, you know, a low is only $10 cheaper than a mid or a high, but we won't get into that right now. This, though, is not my cup of tea. It's women's, so I wouldn't be able to get my feet into it anyway. It's not a model that I would be recommending to anyone. I just think the 5 looks better as a mid, and the colorway for me, it honestly, like, it just feels a little bit lazy. It's a bit cliche. I don't know. It doesn't really work for me. It's okay, but if this thing's going to be 260 Australian dollars and whatever it retails at in the US, maybe like 190, pass. Another women's model next, and this time it's the 6 in a mint foam. These are nice. I mean, but they're just nice. It's a single color through the whole upper, something we don't typically see on a 6, so that's nice. The mint color that they've got is nice, and from what I can see, it's really only used as an accent through parts of the midsole and through a little bit on the heel tab. There's probably a missed opportunity to include a little bit more of that mint color. I don't know, like maybe in the laces, I think that would have looked really nice. It's a women's colorway, so I'm gonna have to pass. But I think if they maybe did a different color on the laces or something with the outsole, this could have been a lot nicer than what it is. Pass. I've probably said that for like the 3rd time. Anyway. 7 in SE form and Sapphire is what they've called it. And I don't know, I just can't really get with these. I like the 7. It kind of reminds me a little bit of a Huarache, which is fair enough because it does share some similarities with the Huarache. There's something that just doesn't work for me. I really like the tones that they've used individually, but there's just something that doesn't feel like it's well matched. I don't know if it's the midsole color that probably should have changed, or if it's maybe something a little bit different with the upper, maybe going a bit of a shade darker. There's just something that doesn't feel right for me. Again, one that I'm on the fence about, probably leaning more to a pass, but I could be easily swayed on these depending on how they look in real life. Skipping the 8 because we always do, the next shoe on their list is a Jordan 9 in University Red. I mean, seriously, like University Red? That's gotta be a typo, because the only red I can see on this shoe is a bit on the heel and the branding on the tongue. They should have called it like cement, or even moonlight or something for this would have worked. And look, I really like the Jordan 9. It's probably one of the lesser popular retro models going around, but if treated right, it looks really nice. This does look nice. I think there is a missed opportunity here for the outsole to have gone a completely different color, like a dark tone of a red, University Red outsole or something. I think it would have added a really nice contrast to the shoe. The white does look nice, it looks clean, but I think giving a little bit of extra-ness to the shoe by treating that outsole in a totally different way would have definitely changed how this shoe looks. It's a shoe that I'm still digging, so I might purchase it, and in that case I guess I'm leaning to a yes please, but in my head I'm kind of thinking yeah, maybe. We'll see how we go. Next up is the Jordan 13 in a white Del Sol colorway. And look, the Jordan 13 is a silhouette that I never used to like, especially when I was growing up. I thought the design was probably a little bit too progressive. When I got my first pair, I think I really appreciated what it was about the 13 that made it so special. It's just made of really nice materials and does feel really good on foot. There is a couple of different ways that these shoes are treated as far as like colorway applications go. Sometimes the sort of bottom panels of the shoe are colored, but then that color carries on to the toe box area, and sometimes it's not. In this case it's not, and that toe box is the same color as the rest of the upper, which sometimes does work. It really worked in the Hyper Royale because of the way that the Hyper Royale and the black work together. In the case of this colorway though, I think it's just a bit of an odd mix. It looks a bit like an egg, like a sad egg maybe. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm gonna pass on this one. There you have it. That's my roundup of the 15 shoes that the Jordan brand have previewed as part of their release next year. Let me know which of those shoes are your favorite. I'm really keen to hear what you think. At the end of the day, the opinions I gave you are my own, and the best thing about this game is that there are no wrong answers. You like what you like and you don't like what you don't like. Until the next video, laters.